this video, we will be heavily focused on the vortex dynamics produced from tornadoes, the scientific research behind why these tornadoes can occur, and the small-scale storm features. And so a lot of the terminology will be really depictable of the new research coming in from these storms that have been observed by Dow and other resources. On June 5th, 2009, a potent synoptic environment set the stage for severe weather in eastern Wyoming. The upper-level dynamics and mid-level shortwave trough traversed the northern Rockies, enhancing large-scale ascent over the high plains. Surface features: a surface low developed over eastern Wyoming, with a dry line extending southward and a warm front stretching eastward. Moisture and instability: southerly low-level flow transported moist air northward, with dew points reaching the mid-60s. This moisture, combined with the daytime heating, resulted in mixed layer CAPE, ML CAPE, exceeding 2,000 joules per kilogram, more than adequate for storm initiation. Wind shear: the environment exhibited strong vertical wind shear with 0 to 6 km bulk shear values around 50 knots and 0 to 1 km storm relative helicity SRH, surpassing 200 meters squared per second squared, favoring supercellular development. The supercell formation: the supercells responsible for the Goshen County tornado initiated in the late afternoon hours. Initiation time around 21Z, 3 p.m. MDT, Mountain Daylight Time. Convection began along the dry line in southeastern Wyoming. Development: the storm quickly intensified, exhibiting classic supercell characteristics, including a rotating updraft mesocyclone and a well-defined hook echo on radar. Track: the supercell moved northeastward across Goshen County, maintaining structure intensity. Tornado genesis and observations: the tornado developed and evolved as follows. At approximately 22:03Z, 4 p.m. MDT, the tornado followed the ideal consensus of the life cycle of tornadoes, beginning with tornado genesis, intensification, maturity, and a weakening phase, but with multiple smaller instances of a lack of condensation funnel, followed by shortly later a condensation funnel, representing the subtle changes in the microphysics of the small tornadoes, updrafts and downdrafts, particularly with the temperature, adiabatic moisture, cooling and condensation processes affecting the pressure changes, which determines the cyclostrophic pressures and balances obtained within the tornado's life cycle. The tornado appeared a rather tall base with significant dynamic piping occurring. Large pressure drops likely triggered the rapid condensation into a classifiable shape known as a stovepipe, where it may not appear all that strong, with visibly depictable upward rising rapid motion, often characterized violent verbally from large tornadoes such as wedge tornadoes, but it can equally have significant intensity, particularly provided laws of conservation of angular momentum. Extreme vorticity stretching and vorticity aggregation provides tight subvortices at the core of the very violent intensity. On radar presentation, the significant presence of a weak echo hole, an area of low reflectivity in the center of a hook echo, often characterized by high intensity, where the centrifuging of hydrometeors, i.e. rain, hail, dirt, out of the center of the circulation, creating an eye appearance on radar like a hurricane eye. This can sometimes, particularly on WSR 88D radars, be present on multiple heights of radar beams, tilts, producing a weak echo column. More so, we can also see unusual lower reflectivity fluid, like motion funneling into the hook echo region, known as a weak reflectivity ribbon. It is theorized this, in particular, that its width usually ranges from 300 meters to 1 kilometer, and it is often most evident below 2.5 to 3 kilometers, as quoted from Snyder et al. 2013. This has some theory on the influence of a vorticity budget through baroclinicity and potentially providing vorticity generation, baroclinic vorticity generation in the core of the supercell and its role in tornadogenesis near surface mesocyclogenesis, Dahl et al. 2014. We also have a theory on its secondary influence. The relative buoyancy of particles traversing and originating in the vorticity source region can have an impact on the tornadic potential of a storm. Markowski et al. 2002. While it remains unclear, it can only be theorized until more real-time applications take place. The last unique association with the storm is the presence of SVCs. Whilst on radar it seems not as definitive, it is likely near the forward flank downdraft gust front where the horizontal vorticity is ingested, as often seen visually from chaser's perspective, and values typically are associated greater than 80% within the lowest 2 kilometers, where, represented by a holograph, the current is perpendicular to the storm relative inflow being ingested. Values of a significant extent appear to be quite small, but are significant at around 0.002 to 0.0025 per second, normally measured in Dow and model outputs, but to allow significant SVC to be set up, a proxy is to observe storm relativity values in the tornadic favorable range from 150 to anywhere beyond 500. This ingestion is usually favored to provide the tornado on a second to minute scale. The horizontal vorticity ingestion that is stretched and tilted for near-surface vertical vorticity acceleration into subvortices that comprise the small region of a tornado and are considered a good maintenance factor for the longevity of tornadoes, rather than the RFD, which by some hypothesis is considered more of an effect than a cause for tornadoes. That too requires more research to definitively know. The Goshen County tornado remained on the ground for 25 minutes, dissipating around 228 Z. It traversed rural areas of Goshen County, minimizing the structural damage. Doppler on wheels Dow observations. The Vortex 2 project deployed multiple Dow units to capture high-resolution data. Peak wind speeds Dow measurements recorded up to 271 miles per hour, approximately 15 meters above ground level. Dual Doppler analysis provided insight into tornadoes' three-dimensional wind field and vortex structure. Despite the extreme wind speeds detected by radar, the tornado is rated EF2 on the enhanced Fujita scale due to the lack of significant damage indicators in the sparsely populated area. In the aftermath, no casualties or fatalities were reported. There was minimal damage, but the scientific impact. This event provided an unprecedented data set for studying tornado dynamics, contributing to advancements in understanding tornado genesis and providing warning systems. This is the Goshen County EF2 tornado.